Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, I talk about the 4 different types of freedom: time, financial, location, health freedom. In that light, I'm always interviewing entrepreneurs, thought leaders, influencers, getting their insights and sharing them with the world. So today is going to be talking all about manifesting, law of attraction, becoming a super conscious creator, which is really fascinating area. So today we have Gunther Mueller, and he's got a 5-step magnetic mind method to help you become super conscious in creating a life you absolutely love. He's got a fantastic message I want to share with you. So Gunther, welcome.
Dr. Liu, thank you so much for inviting me on to share this 5-step method with your audience today. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to welcome you. You come from the personal development world, and you've noticed that it's broken. Tell us more about your story, how you got started.
So I've been a, let's say, seeker all of my life. I've spent multiple 6 figures on personal development, been to every retreat, read all the books, I've done it all, and I work with some of the top names in the personal development space as a coach. And what I come to find out is that the personal development movement to me is broken because it keeps you coming back to try to fix some aspect of yourself. So it seems to be that personal development shows you that you got to fix your personality, you got to fix this aspect, or you got to forgive some trauma that happened to you when you were young. Like you could spend 10 years on the psychiatrist's couch to figure out what's going on in the unconscious code, right? And it is unconscious, so you don't know what is causing your reality to continue to manifest and remanifest and remanifest. So here's the secret I want to share with your audience. Everybody already is a superconscious creator, but they're creating unconsciously, not consciously. So the key word is to create consciously, to create what you want. And that's very different than trying to solve problems in your life. I call that the problem-solving reality, that if you're focused on something, and as you said, you want the 4 different kinds of freedom, I would ask the audience to say, what's stopping you right now from experiencing those freedoms? And you shared with me that your audience is very much high-income professionals. And so my question to someone would be, what's stopping you right now from experiencing that freedom? Because I'm going to tell you, you just need to choose it. You just need to choose it now. From the present moment experience that you're having right now, you've created your experience from the past unconsciously. And in the present moment, you can consciously choose something different. Does that kind of make sense?
Why is the one question is so this idea that this because there's a couple of sayings. One is don't focus on the how, just focus on the why, and
it's actually the what. Like, what is it that you want? And you may have a reason why you want it, but that's bringing up that subtle detail. When I ask someone, why do you want what you want? Like, why do you want freedom or time freedom or financial freedom? Why do you want it? The answer that I'm really looking for is I want it just because I want it, not because it gets me anything else. I want it just because I desire to have that experience for no other reason than I just want it. And we've not been taught that in our young lives as we were bringing up. Parents, schools, society, nobody's ever talked to us and said, you can have it the way you want it. That's a foreign concept. So the quantum physical field is a field of infinite possibilities. Those possibilities already exist in the quantum field. And from your present moment power, what I teach is to reclaim that power in the present moment to choose it the way you would love it to be. And I use the word love because it's an intense word. You know, you as a creator, and all the people that are listening right now, you have created things in your life. You've created your professional position, you've created your job, your family, your children, like everything, the car you drive, the house you live in, you've manifested all of that stuff. Now, if manifesting all of that stuff is not giving you the experience of freedom, then what obvious action could you take right now that will give you that sense of freedom, that experience of freedom? Because I'm here to tell you, you can have it now. You can be that now. And it's just a choice.
Interesting. And so I know you have this magnetic mind method. And how does that relate, or how is it different than The Secret and the Law of Attraction?
So both The Secret and the Law of Attraction dropped the ball a bit on action. A lot of people went through those things and, they think they can manifest a Ferrari in their garage by sitting on the couch, lotus position, and just thinking positive thoughts, thinking positive thoughts. The universe doesn't work that way. The universe requires action. It requires you moving in the direction, creating momentum for what it is you would love to see manifest in your life. So that's why I use the words, what is an obvious action? An obvious means it's staring you right in the face. It could be an adjustment to your calendar. It could be blocking out some things. It could be saying no to extra money because maybe you already have enough money, and chasing the money or chasing the next promotion or chasing the next whatever it is that you have your sights set on now, because you think by getting that, you're going to solve some other problem. Like you're going to get something by achieving this next level, when what you really want is the freedom, the 4 freedoms you talked about. So that's how I would suggest, people in your audience really consider a different way. You don't have to know how that's going to happen. You just have to know what you want. And maybe you have a reason other than I want it just because I want it. But that is the primary reason. When the universe understands that you want something just because you want it, and your superconscious self begins to resonate with that desire, begins to harmonize with that desire, it just goes about creating the circumstances, the conditions, the people, the context. Things just begin to show up, and you just allow those things to happen. And the thing that freaks out most people is like, how fast is it going to happen? Because we live in a microwave society and we think everything needs to happen right now. Well, look, when you desire something, when you love something enough to stick with it and be committed to that end result, it's going to happen for you as soon as possible. That's really the timeline, as soon as possible, because there's always a lot of factors. You are the predominant creative force in your life, but you're not the only creative force in your life. There are other forces that are acting. But to be clear in knowing what you want and not trying to fix some current issue or some kind of problem, because where focus goes, energy flows. And if you're focused on the problem, guess what continues to manifest? The problem. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough financial freedom. Like I'm just scraping by, even though I'm making a lot of money. The experience of your life is that I'm not there yet. When the truth is, by choosing a different experience, the way you want it to be, you will see that the context of your life changes.
Interesting. It's very deep. And then, so when a lot of people they have these traumas, and self-sabotage, how does that relate, and how do clients deal with that?
So everybody has some unconscious self-sabotaging programs that are running in the unconscious code, and these get developed from like 0 to 7 years old, because when you're in that stage of life, you're trying to figure out what it's like here. You're trying to figure out how to get what you need to survive. And so you make certain decisions about the way it is here, about life, and those decisions get internalized in that unconscious code. And probably the top, sabotaging things are, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, I don't belong, things like that. And there's a million variations of those basic thoughts, but we all carry them. We've all had experiences, mini traumas and major traumas. But to go back and fix those traumas and find out how come, who did it, why, and try to forget, it's going to take you so long to do that, versus you just stand in the present moment and you say, okay, to this point, the choices and decisions that I've made have created who I am today, what I am, how I think, how I move, the choices that I make every day. That I created this. And when you take responsibility for creating it, what I would coach your audience on is to find a space of contentment in that moment, to just be okay with it by taking responsibility for it and saying, look, I created this. And the flip side of the coin is, from I created this, and this is my current reality, is I can also create something different. Knowing what I know now, knowing what I want now, I can from this moment forward create what I want, create what I desire, create the experience that I would love to have. So you're not locked into your creation. There's a fluidity, there's a dynamic to it. But if your mind is always going back and forth and choosing from scarcity or lack, or I'm not good enough, or I got to keep doing this to stay in the game, or, to provide for my family, and all these thoughts kind of come in and rule the day, well, then guess what will continue? That same reality will continue to remanifest itself.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And a lot of people listening to this podcast, they'll think, do they have to attend a retreat, or do they have to be experienced in meditation or spiritual? Tell us, how can people get started?
No, you don't have to be an experienced meditator. This is not hypnosis. This is not, doesn't require any retreat. We can do this over Zoom. We can do it in a one-on-one session. We can do it in a live session. I'll give you the 5 steps real quick. Step number 1 is got to know what you want. Number 2 is you got to get into the emotion of the end result. What would it feel like to already have it now? And this is where the imagination kicks in. All right. Many people have to exercise the imagination muscle because it was squashed out of us when we were young. We weren't allowed to daydream. We weren't allowed to think about, fantasy ideas and things like that. We had to focus on our schoolwork, get the right grades, have the right answers. We were told that this is the way it is. This is the path of success. I can tell you from the positivity world and the neuroscience world that they now know that happiness precedes success. It used to be a chicken and the egg thing. Well, if I'm successful, then I'll be happy, or maybe happiness creates success. Scientifically now, it has been proven in the neuroscience world that happiness does precede success in all aspects. So when you're choosing something that you would love to have, that's what leads to the experience of happiness. You can choose to be happy right now in any moment. There are reasons in your life for you to be happy, for you to be grateful. It just depends on what you focus on. And when you focus on those things, the feelings change. A lot of people are ruled by their feelings. This is why they're anxious, or they're depressed, or they don't sleep at night, because the mind does not shut up and it's just replaying this torturous tape all the time. Well, you have to exercise that muscle, because everything that's ever been created has been created twice, once in the imagination and once in the 3-dimensional world. I don't care if it's a building or a Tesla car or, some kind of dam, holding back the water. It was in the imagination. It was in the mind first. How to build it, how to construct it, how to put it together, to see it finished, to see the end result. And that's step 1. And step 2 is, what is the end result you desire? How's it the way you want it to be? What would it feel like to already have that now? The 3rd step is to create some structural tension in the mind, because the mind likes to resolve tension. So we create tension between the way it is now and the way we would love it to be. And so we create just tension in the mind by noticing the way the current reality feels and the way the desired reality feels. And then step 4, we do something called a recode process. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do that, where a coach like myself goes in and just speaks to your higher conscious self with your permission. Again, you're not under hypnosis. You hear every word I say. And I'm just speaking to your superconscious to find the resistance that exists in that unconscious code, to find it, and then to just have you release it, to just let it go, even if you don't know what it is. But there's an energy, there's something that's blocking you from having it the way you want it. And so we go to your superconscious self and we say, can you find that resistance? Can you find out where it is in this unconscious program? And we bring that up into the active experience. Sometimes people see things, feel things, see history, see images, see whatever. You don't have to mess with them. You just observe them and watch them go by. And then we ask superconscious to do a massive change history on that, to change that unconscious program so that it now serves you instead of not serving you, right? So the main personality that you are, if you have an unconscious code or an unconscious pattern that's saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable enough, the not capable is the people that go to school forever. They never feel ready to go out into the world and do what they've been trained on doing. They just need another degree, another school, another this, another that. And they're just perpetually, because they feel like they're not capable enough. And it's not true. They're capable as they are of all the stuff that they learn. They just don't believe it about themselves. And so changing, let's say, that resistance can change the experience of reality. When you shift that identity structure from I'm not good enough to I am good enough, I'm not worthy to I am worthy to have life the way I would love it to be, I'm not capable to I am capable, I don't belong. I mean, how many people out there feel like they don't belong to their own family? Something happened. It's where you made that choice that I'm an outcast, I don't belong. And so that manifests itself in many areas of life. And if we just change the identity structure around that sabotaging element, you see that life happens differently. And it's truly a magical experience. It's the science has been done on this for the last 40 years. There's lots of experiments on the intention of the mind and the mind. I can tell you this, all is mind. When you start in the mind, there's nothing that you can't fix. Optimal health and vitality, feeling like you're in your true purpose and true nature, feeling like you are more in control maybe than you feel like you are now, and really creating a life that you love in all aspects, meaning money and relationships and, physical desires to maybe travel or do whatever it is for you. It doesn't matter what you want. You can have anything that you want. You just can't have everything simultaneously. You have to create things kind of one at a time. And that's why you want to be really clear as to what you're focusing on. And it has to be a true choice, a true end result. That a lot of times that end result, in order for you to have that and experience that and feel that, a lot of other things just have to be in the picture. So you don't have to focus on these other things and create them first. You always focus on the end result. So beginning with the end in mind, how do you want your life to look after you've created this life you love? What are the ingredients? If I baked a chocolate cake today and I left out the sugar, it'd be a crappy chocolate cake, right? Nobody would want to eat it. So creating your life is kind of the same way. You want to make sure that all the ingredients are in that vision and you are feeling what it feels like to have that now, whether it's, a primary love relationship, relationships with your kids, relationship with your employer, or maybe you're the employer and with your employees. Just, relationships is a deep area of how would you love your relationships to feel? And a lot of people have not spent any time focused on that. They don't have the answer. The number one answer I get when I ask, what do you want? Is I don't know. And that's the problem. You don't know. You're focused on the problem. You're trying to fix the problem. Therefore, the problem stays.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it sounds like, more clarity. And, once you have clarity, then you can it's like cars. If you're just spinning your wheels and just nonstop, you're wasting gas and,
Yeah, you want to drive a car fast on a racetrack, you should get some coaching. You should understand how that vehicle works. You should understand the lay of the track. There's a lot of things that you should understand before you try to go 180 miles an hour around that track, right? Or else something unpleasant might happen. So, and the last step, the recode is the fourth step. The last step is just to take action. And this is again where the law of attraction, the secret, kind of just didn't finish, because action is required. Momentum is required. And what I mean by action, I mean taking the next obvious step in the direction that you want to go. And when you take that obvious step, you're informing the quantum physical field that you're serious about that choice. when you take action, the field notices. And then the field goes into creating the thing that you desire. It's just that simple. It's not any more complicated than that.
Yeah, very fascinating discussion. I've always been, very fascinated with the laws of attraction and karma and all of these concepts, and applying it. How do people follow you, contact you, visit your website, etc.?
Yeah, the best way, and if you can put it in the notes, is just dreamlifemasters.com with an S, dreamlifemaster.com. I've got some tools on there. You can join, the email list, download morning ritual program that, you create on your own. I'm not going to tell you what to do in a morning ritual, but I am going to encourage you to have one.
Mm.
And so then there's options there on the website. If you want to try a recode session, there's a deal there to work with me for an hour and a half. Just see if this is nonsense or if this is hocus pocus. Like I'm telling you, it's real. I've been training this for about 3 years now, and I do a lot of things in business. I'm in the real estate industry. I do other things, but this is like my passion project. I love coaching, and I love seeing the lights go on in people that want what they want. Whether you're a business person, whether you're a mom taking care of kids, whether you're, unemployed right now, don't know what to do, can't find your purpose, can't find your dream, or you're, why am I here? Those kind of things. That's where a coach comes in handy. It doesn't take forever either. It might be a month or 2 or 3 months or something like that we work together. And there's a back end program. There are some meditations involved, but you don't have to be a good meditator. You just have to be able to listen. And what we're going to do is just exercise your ability to imagine that which you want and the guidance to do that until you learn to do it yourself. I always tell people this is the last thing you got to learn in life. No more books, no more seminars, no more anything. You learn this technique, you learn these 5 steps, and you can create anything you want.
Yeah.
From here on out. And this is based on science. This is not some woo-woo kind of, principle or process. This is just 5 steps that you can learn to do to command your focus, to control your focus, and to point it in the direction that you want to go, take action, release some of the resistance that's holding you back. And it's effortless, it's painless, it's, no trauma involved in the therapy, or, it's not a therapy. It's just a 5-step method. It was developed on the shoulders of a lot of other people. And I think now the 5-step method is just so refined. It's so compact, and anyone can do it. You don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be a meditator. You don't have to be a new ager or anything like that. You can be, Wall Street business guy or something like that. And, or a doctor, like a lot of your audience is physicians, right? And I've worked with 300 to 400 physicians in my career, helping them bring cash-based therapies into their practices. I've helped physicians make millions of dollars in my career. And, it's just sometimes a different perspective, a different way of looking at something, and boom, you flip a switch in somebody's mind. They didn't see what they couldn't see. And when you help them see it, hear it in a different way, a different perspective, it's like, why didn't I figure that out? And so that's what a coach does. And that's what I do for clients. But there's 3 videos on that website. They're about 10, 15 minutes a piece. I highly recommend just watch the 3 videos. It talks about the quantum physical field. It's a lot of theoretical science on there, just to show you that this is not hocus pocus magic stuff. This is real. Our quantum physicists understand this. I'll give you one example. A photon is a particle of light, right? Just a photon. And things are made of photons. And what they found is that the photon does not even exist. The particles in quantum physics, they don't exist until there's an observer that intends to see it. When that intention happens, the particle shows up. So imagine if you figure out how to refine your intention and focus on what it is you want. Manifestation is just the particles lining up in the present moment to create the experience that you desire. Mm-hmm. And some people, that seems way out there in left field. I know it. I understand it. I'm just here to tell you that is the fastest, quickest way to getting the life that you love and experiencing what you truly want, what you truly desire.
Yeah. And for all the listeners out there, Gunther's resources will be in the links and show notes, so check those out. Be sure to follow him on social. And with that, thanks for a wonderful, almost a masterclass, and thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Lou. Appreciate it. And we'll see what the feedback is, and maybe we can dive deeper at some point in the future.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.